All right, Bob Campbell, how long have you been the owner of All About Coins?
I've been the owner since September of 1983, but the coin shop here has been here since 1965. And I obviously worked here before I owned it, so I've been here now 43 plus years.
That's crazy. And so this block here on Sugar House is really special in that you have one single block that not only has all these amazing local businesses that have been around for years and years and years, 150 years, Sterling Furniture, Fankhauser, I believe something like 60, 70 years, you, before you, it was here how many years?
Since 1965, so, it's coming up right on, 60 years for us too here.
And something we pointed out last December is you guys generate a ton of tax revenue, for the city, and you generate a ton of local economic vitality, yet this format of putting local businesses on one block, with individual buildings is just completely outdated according to city planners and zoning codes.
Yep.
Why are cities forgetting that you guys are so important and doing a lot of stupid decisions, which we'll go into, and not remembering that you guys are a total asset to any city who could possibly have businesses like you?
And a good reason why is because probably a lot of the people that are working for the city have never been in business. They don't understand a small business type of way of doing business. And they have their own agendas online and what they want to promote. For example, about increase foot traffic, but get rid of traffic, whether or not it's the pollution from the traffic or it's the congestion of the traffic. They're trying to minimize that and trying to promote people to get on their bicycles, which is really not very fair to like senior citizens, expecting them to start commuting with a bicycle or trying to use public transit. A lot of them just enjoy that convenience to being able to drive to a business, and that's how it is throughout the West here. People don't commute like they do in the East Coast, but they're used to these wide open spaces and basically driving to things. So you got the ideas of what city council might do it or the mayor's office, and it's really what right now a main dichotomy that's forming here. And we have people that are talking about this Wells Fargo building, first being over 30 stories, and now they're going to try to get 22 stories. When in Sugar House, it's been decided long ago that it would only be 4 stories high, and a 5th story could come in if it's backed off on the roof, much like a penthouse. But here you want to add more people like this, and the contractor is very persuasive. They have their attorneys, and of course they're going to say the more taxes that come here, and of course they always throw in the low-income housing that they might be able to squeeze in as an incentive to the city to try to solve like the homeless problem or low-income problems. So
but that's not going to be low-income housing.
It isn't. It's going to be high-end because they'll have unobstructed views. They'll be real expensive to put a skyscraper in Sugar House. Plus, it will take away all the flavor of Sugar House, of a quaint little community.
And the interesting thing is, I can see the value of a bike corridor, but where they've done bike corridors correctly, like in places like Amsterdam and the Netherlands, the bike corridors are separate from the car corridors.
Oh, absolutely.
To try to combine a bike corridor and a car corridor in the same street, and then also jeopardize your customer base and your parking situation and your traffic situation.
Yes.
That doesn't seem to make any sense. And
it doesn't.
As you voiced that opinion.
Oh yeah. You ask an average person about what the city's planning to do here with the road and the construction, and it makes no sense at all to most reasonable people. At least that's what I found out, and also talking with other business. We actually feel like the city is trying to put us out of business. This is the last corner of Sugar House that has small independent businesses. Everything else national brands, Barnes & Noble. We got restaurants galore up here, and it's really popular during the lunchtime. You can't find a parking place, but there is a lot of great restaurants. The Sugar House has kind of been neat because it's compacted enough that you can park someplace and then walk to these others. And certainly that does happen too. But in my particular case and other people's cases, they're actually going to restrict the traffic so much here that we can't make a left turn. So my customers have to approach from only one direction And that means they have to go up and do a crazy U-turn in traffic and not try to get hit. Or in the case of looking out for pedestrians or bicycles. Now, I'm a bicyclist myself, at least I was until recently, when people always were on their cell phones. Right now, I think it's almost suicidal for anybody to try to commute because no one's paying attention to the road. If you don't believe me, look at everybody else driving around you. They have their cell phone in their lap at night. You can see them shining up, but they're just going to hit more people if there's more bicycles here. And bicycle isn't really the issue here. There's hardly anybody that will come into this sugar house riding a bike. Will it increase because the city makes a multi-use plan? I doubt it. It's not going to stop the trend that's already happened, which less and less people are bicycling and commuting. And it's because of, not because they don't have the space or the trails or the places to go. It's simply because people are driving while texting, driving while talking to their attention, and then it becomes a hazard to us. If a bicycler tells you differently, I don't know what's wrong with them. They're suffering from mental illness.
I mean, it goes back to the idea, like separate bike pathways and separate bike freeways. Right. That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
But combining the bike pathway with the cars,
pedestrian even, yeah.
And then the pedestrians and getting everybody in the mix all at once.
Yeah,
I mean, so you probably should debate somebody because it just seems like common sense has lost the...
Oh, it is. It's. I guess they've been watching the Field of Dreams movie about the baseball thing, you know, build it and they will come. They won't come. You know, if they feel like their life is in danger, they will not come.
Yeah,
you can't change habits of people.
Why not have the bike corridor on 1700 South or closer to Wilmington?
Exactly.
Where you already have bike infrastructure. Yeah. I don't get it.
And the way they told me, they didn't have the chance to really condemn the land and make the trail where it comes through Sugar House Park and comes down there because they didn't want to tackle that. They'd rather try to do it with the city streets. And this bike path doesn't even line up with the other bike paths that are here. And they're making a big deal about it. And they're saying a lot of people are walking over there and they have people complain. Don't believe it. They've also said, you know, that 1 million people a year visit that monument that we have down here, Kitty Corner to me, which if you try to put that out to down by the day and do the mathematics, there is no way feasible that that's actually happened. You know, that's something we'll challenge.
You've called them out on that?
Oh, yeah, yeah. And they're backpedaling already because they're saying, well, maybe we'll include the monument down to 7th East. So it's just they're changing things, they're rewriting things. I actually don't think they have a clue what they're doing up here. I think I have a much better perspective. My window is right here. I look out at the street for 43 years. I grew up in Sugar House. I know of all their establishments that are here. I've been here more time. I got more hours on my eyes than they have together in all their performances. And I don't think they really are putting out the data in a truthful manner. I think they're manipulating it. They're only doing the data and manipulating the data like you could with any chart and things like that. And we feel like we've been really not listened to from the majority of the people. Now, I've talked to about 60 business owners up here already. We formed the Sugar House Business Alliance. We got a platform where people can speak out. But I've attended their open houses and the people that are going there are left frustrated. You know, they bombard these places with all their other city workers, their wives and things like that to help promote the thing, to try to even out the odds. But the vast majority of the people there are there to complain. But they feel like they've already made up their mind and their input is of no value to them anymore. Mm-hmm. And they push this whole way through there like that. They've played a divide and conquer type of a thing. Get us in small groups, first working with the landowners and then with the business owners, and not saying, we're here to see if we can compromise to do something. We're going to say, well, we're not changing anything. We're just telling you what we're going to do.
Well, the thing that gets me is like, back when we started the magazine Utah Stories, it was 18 years ago, the Sugar House Granite Block was the big, area in contention. There were 22 local businesses around that block, but the developer owned that land. And in the United States, in a free market, you can do what you want with your land. Ultimately, sure. He had the say to go ahead and take the wrecking ball, displace those 22 businesses. Urban gentrification is age-old, out with the old, in with the new, especially in America. But in this situation, it's different. The landowner, Sterling Furniture, owns this whole block. They want you to remain viable. They want you to stay here.
They do.
And your major opponent is actually the city, who's got plans in place to just
Yep.
pretty much not zone you out, but displace you by congesting this area
To
with
make it so
many apartments,
so restrictive that we can't get our clients in. So I'm a destination place. People that come and see me, they want to come in and do business with me. We don't get hardly any walk through here. I mean, there are curious people that come by, but it's quiet here. It's it's an effort you got to make to here. This building is built in 1914. It's not indicative to the way we think of traffic and how patterns work this day, but we've made it work. We refurbished this building, and it's beautiful in here, and you come in and see it. And we went through and past everything else. We want to try to preserve this building. This particular building, I think, is the second oldest building in Sugar House. The only building older is that firehouse station, old number 3, that's to the east of us, and that was built in 1910.
Wow.
So
Yeah,
these
you
are very
would
old
think
buildings that have been
be,
repurposed, yeah.
an absolute community asset. But I mean, when it comes down to just plain gentrification, when someone owns a building, you can't force them to not tear it down if it's no longer economically viable. That's
Yeah.
not the case here, though.
Right.
And it's just like, why can't the city leaders wrap their head around the idea? We did a comparison of a Home Depot and a Walmart,
Big box
lot.
stores.
Yeah, to this lot, which is, this generates 22 times more city tax revenue
Yeah.
than a Walmart block would.
Oh.
But they don't want to put you on a pedestal and respect the amount of tax revenue you're
You
generating.
might be getting out of control, Rich. You're trying to say that they're not logic. You're listening to logic or reasoning, and you're right. I don't get it. Neither does anybody else with a brain. You don't understand what they're doing. Maybe they're trying to make us a smart city. Have you ever noticed that when somebody says in front of something of a normal word, when they say smart city, it means just the opposite, a dumb city, And they think everything can be solved by making everybody walk to everything. But you got to think of all the kind of people that are here, not just the young people that are here. Somebody that doesn't walk well, can't get around well, and then you're going to restrict the cities, the way that people get around the city. We're the only coin shop in Salt Lake City limits. A lot of these shops are very unique in this particular block. Sterling Furniture wants us all to stay. They have no intention of selling. I know, because I've tried to buy the place. They're not interested. They have people come up and what you want. They're not interested. They're a family business. They want to continue on a family business. They're very much into tradition, just like us. And we all want to just sit here and work. But the city's going to make it so difficult for my customers to get here that we might not survive. And there's already been 3 people that have gone out of business with the construction little bit that we've had here just before Thanksgiving. Well, that was just a taste. So it's going to get 10 times worse than that. People have already called us and says, we want to come down, but we just don't think we can get through that construction. There's no way we can turn in. We can't park, and we know it's going to get worse. And they're not listening to any logic or reasoning. They want to do it their way, cram it down our throats. Because I guarantee if they had a public meeting with all the business people welcome to come, with all the residents welcome to come, they would really see the opposition and go back to the drawing board. So we're going to try to stop it. And if it's in court, we're going to take the city to court over it. It's going to be a classic story of David and Goliath, the little guy that wants to stand up and get a voice. But we feel so strongly the way they pushed us around and not listen to us, that the only way you can get their attention is by slapping them in a court of law, so that gets their attention and come back to the drawing board and not say it's too late. We've already decided what to do with this money, and we're going to do it our way, and you can go someplace else. That's how we feel like. And a lot of businesses, or most of the businesses, feel the exact same way right now.
Yeah. Well, it's interesting because the business owners, the residents, they see Sugar House one way, and it seems the city sees it another way. Why they would not be listening to the voices of the residents and business owners? I mean, that kind of goes back to the granite block. I could see that everybody wanted to preserve that
Yeah.
architecture. You're a
Right.
preserved piece of architecture.
Yeah.
So hopefully you get good resolution
Yeah,
on this problem.
and we've already seen what the city can do. Look what happened to Main Street. How many businesses did they put out of business? Look at North Temple. How many people
projects
were
in 76.
upset? How many businesses went out? Well, there's going to be a lot of these businesses don't have the money to survive here. And they're going to go out of business right and left. And then just seen them drop away. And it'll just be what they want to get. And they listen nothing to a private citizen me. I just wish I lived in Salt Lake City so I could vote for somebody that may make a difference. But unfortunately, I live in the county. I work in the city.
Me too.
So I don't have a voice here.
Yeah,
But, you know, but
if you're a vote,
we feel like that, but it doesn't happen. And, you know, again, I echo the same thing with a lot of other businesses around here, a lot of other businesses. And you'll see in coming months things that we'll have with us. We will not just talk. We'll actually provide action. You'll see how many businesses. You know, we're in a court situation. You'll see how many logos that we have on a big print board of how many businesses we represent here in the Sugar House Business Alliance. Because we're going to try to stop them where we know that they have not had success in the past in coming in and rearranging things and make, again, the roads more restrictive, that we're going to try to do something. We're in it for our lives, for our livelihoods, for our families.
Yeah.
And they want to try to put us out of business. That's how I feel, and a lot of other people feel the same way. And people around here in the neighborhoods, when this is restrictive, you know what they're going to do? This is a commuting road in front of us, the busiest road in Salt Lake City that's in east and west, and it's a highway. And they're going to start using all the side streets. So all these people that live around me here, you're going to get 10 times more traffic. You know, your kids will be more in danger. You'll get hit more just backing out of your driveway because everybody's running up and down the street trying to avoid the log jam that will start here. It's already busy now. When they restrict it, it's not going to get better. It's going to get more jammed up than ever.